The scream did not come from the dragon's mouth. It came from the chains tightening around his body, iron etched with ancient curses, cut into white scales that once gleamed like moonlight. The albino dragon lay on his side in a dead ravine where even the wind seemed afraid to pass. Blood pooled beneath him, dark against pale stone, steaming faintly in the cold air. His wings were ruined, bones broken, membranes torn and burned. Every breath rattled as if his chest were filled with shattered glass. He did not fight anymore. Once. He had been called Aurenthal, the white sky. He had been rare, born different among his kind, his scales silver white instead of fire gold. Dragons feared him. Humans feared him more. They said his color meant endings. They said wherever he flew, something precious would die. Aurenthal tried to prove them wrong. He guarded mountain villages from storms. He melted glaciers so rivers could flow. He burned armies that marched to enslave the weak. But goodness does not protect you from stories, and stories are sharper than blades. When a kingdom collapsed under plague and famine, the priests blamed the white dragon. When the king's son died, they swore it was a curse carried on pale wings. The hunt began not with hatred, but with righteousness, which is far more dangerous. Mages carved runes meant to weaken gods. Blacksmiths forged chains that drank magic like thirsting mouths. Soldiers were promised glory. Aurenthal fought the sky itself that day. Clouds burned. Mountains cracked. He killed many, spared more, and still fell. They did not grant him a swift death. They dragged him here, to a ravine forgotten by maps and prayers. They shackled his neck, his legs, his wings. They carved a curse that fed on his strength and sealed his fire. Then they left him. Let the monster rot, the commander said. Days blurred into agony. Hunger hollowed him. Infection crept through open wounds. His thoughts slowed, then fractured. Sometimes he remembered flying. Sometimes he remembered kindness. Mostly he remembered pain. On the night he finally decided to stop breathing, footsteps echoed from above. Aurenthal forced one eye open. A human stood at the edge of the ravine. Alone, not a soldier. No armor, no sword. Just a long coat, worn boots, and a bag slung across one shoulder. The human hesitated, clearly afraid, yet did not turn away. The dragon growled weakly. The human raised empty hands. "Easy," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." Aurenthal wanted to laugh. Humans only came to hurt dragons. The human climbed down anyway, slipping on loose stone. Up close, Aurenthal saw a thin man, young but exhausted, eyes shadowed by too many nights without sleep. His hands trembled, not with hatred, but fear held in check. "My name is Elias," the human said. "I'm a medic." The word meant nothing to Aurenthal. He closed his eye again. Elias knelt beside a shattered wing. The smell of blood made his stomach twist, but he forced himself to focus. Slowly, carefully, he cleaned a wound. Pain exploded through Aurenthal's body. He roared, chains rattling violently. Elias flinched, but did not flee. "I know," Elias whispered. "I know it hurts." No one had ever said that to him. Elias worked through the night. He spoke as he worked, as if silence might break something fragile between them. He spoke of battlefields littered with boys who never learned why they died, of kings who ordered mercy written in speeches and cruelty written in blood, of choosing to heal because killing was easier. "I was told you were a monster," Elias said quietly. "But monsters don't suffer like this." Aurenthal listened not at dawn. Elias tried the shackles. The runes flared instantly. White-hot pain surged through both of them. Elias screamed and fell back, clutching his burned hands. Tears streamed down his face, but not from fear. "They made sure no one could save you," he said hoarsely. Aurenthal felt something stir inside him. A feeling long buried beneath bitterness. Elias stayed. Soldiers arrived the next day. They stood above the ravine, weapons raised, faces twisted in triumph. "There he is," one shouted, "and a traitor with him." Elias stood between them and the dragon, blood still seeping through fresh bandages on his hands. "You can't do this," Elias said. "He's dying." "That's the point," the commander replied. "Move." The arrow flew before Elias could answer. It struck his shoulder, driving him to his knees. Aurenthal roared. It was a broken sound, but it shook the ravine. Rage burned through the curse, through the chains, through the years of being blamed for sins not his own. The runes flared brighter, draining him faster, but he did not stop. Elias crawled to the shackles, screaming as he tore at them with burned hands. Blood soaked the stone. "Please," Elias whispered. "Not like this." Something shattered. White fire erupted from Aurenthal's chest, not hot, but blinding. The runes cracked. The chains screamed as they broke apart. The blast hurled soldiers backward like leaves in a storm. Aurenthal collapsed. Free at last, his body finally giving in. Darkness took him. When he woke, he expected death. Instead, he saw sky. Clean. Blue. He lay in a hidden valley. Wounds bound with careful precision. Elias lay nearby, feverish but alive. His shoulder stitched tight. Aurenthal shifted, pain flaring. But the curse was gone. Elias woke hours later and smiled weakly when silver eyes met his own. "Told you," he murmured. "I wouldn't leave." Aurenthal lowered his massive head, touching it gently to the ground beside the human. A gesture older than words. They healed together. When Aurenthal could fly again, he carried Elias across the world. They protected villages. They ended wars without fire. Kings who came seeking vengeance found empty skies and unanswered prayers. Stories changed. They spoke not of a cursed dragon, but of a white guardian. Not of a foolish human, but of a healer who touched fate itself. Aurenthal learned that strength alone could not save him. Elias learned that mercy could, and the world learned that hope often arrives where everyone else has already given up.